Welcome to this all-important interaction today with a man that I can say he's an advocate of devil. He's an advocate against Christianity and the existence of God. He is the most controversial figure today when it comes to any argument against Christianity in all social media platforms. He's a man that have gained himself repute only for condemning and criticizing Christianity. Today, I have him as a guest to tell us what are the motives behind him condemning Christianity. What are those things that he believes in outside God? Please, my audience, help me welcome Mr. Alex Ifeanyi, JP.
I welcome my big brother. Let me correct one impression. The introduction you made a mistake. I am not advocating for the devil because devil does not exist.
Oh,
yes. So, and any other time you are calling my name, try to put pastor.
oh, pastor. All right,
Pastor
that's
Alex.
beautiful. That's beautiful. Since you are pastor, and I know very well, let me take it from there.
Yes.
I know that pastor as a tag is an acronym that befits Christian leaders, church leaders.
Yes.
And you don't believe in church, you don't believe in Christianity. Yet, you go by that title, pastor. What could be the reason why you prefer to be addressed as a pastor?
Yeah, because one is that I want to use their own gunpowder against them. One is this, yes. One is this. In a Christian community, only the pastor is not a sheep. Just imagine where pastors' Bible saw so many strong animals, lion, antelope, even goat that is a bit intelligent. So I now chose sheep to refer Christians as. How can you call Christians sheep? And as an adult, and if they call you sheep, you know how you feel. But when you go to church, they will say you are sheep. And pastors are shepherd. So that's why I'm a pastor. And I'm talking to so many people who are sheep. But it is true.
Okay, and you don't think that reference of Christians as sheep, don't you think it is just a proverbial way of expressing them?
There is nothing proverbial there. You can't relate normal human being, an adult that has intelligence, you regard the person as sheep. Once you call, no matter the condition, if you call the person sheep, it means you are degrading him.
Okay.
So what of where they said you should be as wise as serpent? So they know that a serpent are wise animals. So now they said you should be sheep and you should be regarded as sheep. Don't you know that name alone is capable of weighing your thinking faculty down?
Okay. Now I understand your point of view. I think the reason why many Christians, or why the Bible refers to Christians as sheep, is because it's expected that Christians should be people that are very meek. Christians should be people that are very innocent. And you know very well that sheep as an animal is a very meek and innocent
They're not meek,
animal.
they are just stupid. Don't confuse stupidity with meekness.
No, sheep is not stupid. Sheep is
stupid
no,
animal.
how is it stupid?
Okay, sheep is the only animal that crosses the road without looking sideways.
Okay.
Go ahead,
I
let's forget about that.
think we shouldn't divert attention to whether sheep or no sheep. Let us even know the reason why you are choosing, of all things, to be an atheist. Let us also know why you choose to always criticize and speak against Christianity. And you are not repentant about it. You keep advocating, saying there is no God, there is no Jesus. So today, I want to be taking some of the questions one after the other. And I expect that to give satisfactory answer to each of the questions so that our viewers can understand your own point of view. Perhaps you may win many of them to join you in practicing atheism, or many people will see that you lack the adequate logic to back your claims. Do you understand it? So I want to quickly ask you this one question.
Yes.
Over time, we have seen you in all social media. We have watched you. We have seen you every now and then. In fact, there is no day I don't visit your page. And any day I come across your page, there is always one thing you have to say against Christianity and God. Okay. So now I want to find out what actually is preparing you. What is the reason behind you? Or were you born atheist, or you were at one time attending a church, and perhaps because of one misnomer, you diverted or you deviated to start practicing atheism?
Well, the truth is that I've once been a pastor. I've been baptized many times.
Pardon, please.
The pastor, I mean, I've once walked like somebody who regarded others as sheep and collecting offering from them, collecting money from them. So that's what I mean by once being a pastor. And unfortunately, I've once been a native doctor. So now, I was able to compare those things and contrast. I was able to discover that the illusion they created, a kind of smoke screen they created to deceive the masses and fleece them out of their money. So Christianity, whether you call it Christianity or whatever, is all about money. Now, let us come to where you said, did I just, or is something propelling me to write against God? I want to ask, which of the gods? Because we have about 5,000 religious, let me just say religion in the whole world. About 5,000. And each religion has a god. So I want to know the one you are referring to.
Okay, I think there is a mistake somewhere. Mm-hmm. All the religions in the world today, I don't think there is anyone that don't acknowledge the existence of God Almighty.
Okay.
Rather, the name of God Almighty can vary based on cultural practice and language.
Okay.
Take, for example, in English language, we know God as God Almighty. We call him Almighty. In Christianity, he's called Jehovah. And in Islam, he's called Allah. In Buddhism, he's called Buddha. Do you understand it?
Okay.
Then in other religions, he has different names, but making reference to one thing. Do you understand? Since you said, okay, you made research about cultural practice, which is native doctor according to you, and you also make this research about Christianity. And after juxtaposing between the two, you just realized or came to a conclusion that it is better not to be a Christian.
Okay, what you pointed out about worshipping the same God, I want to tell you that it is not true. Because the Muslim people, they regard Christians as infidels. And the Buddha or Hinduism, those ones, they don't regard their God as the God of the Bible. Remember, God of the Bible, if you read the Bible, I can put you through because I've read the Bible so much. And I know it very, very well. So, God's name was mentioned in the Bible, which is Yahweh.
Okay.
Or you can call it Jehovah.
Yes.
That is his name. Any other name you are attributing to that God, you are becoming a false preacher.
No.
Because God never answered Hindu. And once you refer to God as Hindu, Christians will run away from you. Now listen. And almost about 95% of those religions have their own different hellfires. Yes. So the Muslims, they have their hellfire. Christians, they have their hellfire. The Hindu, they have their hellfire. So if you want to tell me that I will go to hellfire, I will ask you which of the hellfires. Okay. Is it that of the Hindus or for the Christians? Okay. And now, when you talk about God, you should tell me we are talking about the Christian God, the one written in the Bible. I will answer. Okay. So if it is about that one, let me answer.
Okay. Let me start from this point of view.
Okay.
You said that there are many gods based on many religions.
Yes.
And according to you, in Bible, the name of God is Yahweh or Jehovah.
Yes.
And can I tell you that it is because the Bible you've read is written in English. That same Yahweh or Jehovah could be a different translation in another language.
No, sorry. No, I don't want you to go there. I don't want us to beat that, to continue beating on that, because it is complete fallacy to say that Yahweh is an English name. Yahweh is a Hebrew name meant for God. And God answers that Yahweh. Any other thing you want to go and borrow Hindu or whatever and add to God, please don't just do.
So if I am
because Christians are watching us, and you know you're
I know. And if
please,
hello,
don't.
If I am writing in Chinese and in Chinese language, in Chinese vocabulary, there is no word that I could coin to make up Yahweh. Is it not proper that I interpret Yahweh to a Chinese language?
That is when you are talking about language. You are talking about name.
This is what I'm saying now.
No.
Yahweh is an English name for God.
Okay, like
now, pay attention, please. Can you listen?
Are diverting. You are just trying to tell Christians that the name of their God could be changed.
The name of God could be changed based on language.
Excuse me, sir.
Yahweh is a Hebrew name for God. In Chinese, there could be a better translation.
What is the
Yahweh.
Translation of Obasanjo in Chinese name? In Chinese.
Obasanjo may not have a translation in
what
Chinese.
Is the translation of Obasanjo in English? I am talking about reality. You see, I deal with logic. So if you say the name can be translated to another, what is the translation of Obasanjo in English?
You tell, let me tell you the translation of Obasanjo.
In English.
If you tell an Englishman the meaning, the traditional meaning of Obasanjo, he will therefore coin a name that is correlating with that meaning.
But it didn't happen in this case.
No, it happens. You will not understand it. For example, yeah, beautiful. If, for example, your English name is Blessing, and you already have that name, Blessing. When an Igbo person wants to interpret your name, he will call you Ngozi. Meaning there is Ngozi, which is a correlation of blessing in English, right? So in Chinese, if you tell a Chinese man that Yahweh perhaps means the one God that is supreme and almighty, he will therefore give you a name in Chinese language, in Chinese vocabulary, that is a correlation of one God that is supreme and almighty.
Yes, that one you are defining. What you are meaning, you are saying now is definition. You are defining a name. I'm telling you that somebody's name cannot change because another person has a different language outside their own. Let's listen now. Now, your name now can never be changed by Chinese because you are coming from this.
Yes.
Now listen to what you are about to explain. What you are explaining to me. What you are trying to say is that what they call their God, that the meaning, that is what they are thinking about, refers to a particular being, that is God. Then you also failed it because the way they worship that their God is not the way they worship the Yahweh. And now listen, if a God does not receive sacrifice in the same way, it means they are not the same God. No. If a God, wait now, a God set a rule, say follow me through this rule, worship me through this rule, and another person decided to turn the rule upside down, and you come out because you want to have population. You started claiming people who are worshiping that God in a different way. No, you are making a mistake. Now listen, the truth is that Christians, they don't involve logic. I mean religious people, because I cannot say Christians because we have so many religious people. So now, if you are talking about the Christian God, I will tell you that at some point in my life, I started thinking about the whole world. I started thinking about the Bible. You know, I used to read the Bible very, very well. Okay. So I started thinking about the Bible, the condition of those people that wrote the Bible, what they were thinking about, and lots of things. So until I now said, if there is a God, the one they described in the Bible cannot be the overall God. That is my standpoint. That's where I started disbelieving. Okay. Because I'm coming. Because the one they described in the Bible is so limited. They gave him limited power. They made him. In fact, the Bible made caricature of what should be called God.
How?
Good. Thank you very much. For example, a God that is all-knowing. He knows everything. Yes. He sees us where we are, according to the Bible. When it was time to destroy the children of Egypt, he now told the children of Israelites to kill sheep, and touch the blood on their houses, so that God would be able, or the Spirit of God will be able to identify the houses of those Israelites. Now, a God that knows everything does not need the blood to identify his children, number one. Number two, when people, some illiterates, in those days we don't have architecture, so we don't have all those things. So some illiterates were building a house, maybe a mud house or something like that. There was no cement then. They were building one kind nonsense house. They said they want to reach where God lives. So, and that is the Tower of Babel. So, and God became afraid and thought maybe, listen now. Then he said, okay, if I allow these people, they will now come to me. He now struck them with different languages. They now started speaking different languages. A God that is afraid of illiterates who cannot even build something that is up to 3-kilometer road, is that one a God I should be worshiping? A God that I'm more intelligent than? So even in this modern era, how can you say you are building a house even to the moon? So the God does not even know that they are doing nothing. Wait. I'm giving you samples. Number 3, when their languages was changed, remember those men building that Tower of Babel. Was the language of the wives at home, was it changed? What of the children at different places? Was it changed? What of other elderly people? Was it changed? So why change the language of people at a particular point in time? Why those people at home, they are still speaking the same language? It means confusion. How can you tell me that such is a God that I should worship? Now tell me, how can you tell me that I will worship a God who created heaven with many mansions and then came back to earth and created Adam and Eve and put them in a garden without roof? Just ordinary roof, no roof at all. And now, he now said, don't eat from, he pointed at a tree. And he said, this tree is a tree of knowledge. Don't eat from it. He doesn't want them to know anything. So now, since he doesn't want them to know anything, he now came back and started giving them instruction. Don't eat this. Don't eat that. Those are people who don't know anything, and you don't want them to know. You started dishing out instruction they should obey. How can somebody who doesn't know anything understand when he's doing the wrong thing and obey your instruction? Now, and after telling them not to eat this and eat that and do this, they ate the fruit and they discovered they were naked. So now, those people, it means they didn't even know they were naked. It means they were so stupid. It means you created an ignorant people and now started giving them instruction. After allowing a serpent you created to meet them, instead of building a house for them, what you threw into that place was a bad Satan that will destroy them. So now, such a God should not be considered as my God. A God who also in Africa, when anytime there is problem, Egypt will save Israelites. They saved Jesus when they were about to kill him. Egypt saved Joseph and also saved the children of Jacob. But when it was time for miracle, they were performing miracle in Israel, up and down, and the Egyptians were suffering. Later, the only quote they gave Egyptians are, the Egyptians you see today, you will see them no more. So, and they were referring to Africans. Now, how can I worship a God that doesn't understand that everybody on earth belongs to him? A God that does not understand the difference between slave and a master. He said that a slave should obey the master, thereby supporting slavery. So, that is the limitation they gave. I just don't want to continue because there are so many limitations they gave God. Even at a point, God told the Israelites to always cover their feces anytime after going to toilet to avoid him stepping on it.
To avoid God stepping on it.
Stepping on it! You don't read the Bible. I'm a pastor by profession and ordination, and I know what I'm talking about with biblical quotations.
Well,
okay, how can God create angels that will come into this world in Genesis chapter 6 verse 2, impregnate daughters of men, angels? So a lot of things. So such God is a limited God.
Beautiful.
Go ahead.
I love your argument.
Go ahead. Right. Ask me any other question.
The things of God and the events in the Bible are not actually why we are here today.
Okay.
But good thing you've been able to explain some of the points. I can see these are some of the premises that you drew your conclusion from to take a position of being a theist.
Yes.
Okay. I want to ask you just one question. Do you believe in creation?
Yeah, let me tell you one thing about believing in creation. Because if I ask you now, you say you believe in creation, that God created humans. He created everything, that God designed the world. How can the world be like this without having a designer? Then you forgot that you also believe that God has no designer. You see where the people from.
How is God not having a design? Is God himself is the master designer?
Okay, who designed God? Answer, sir. Can you tell us who designed God?
Nobody. Excuse me. You can't ask who designed God.
Okay.
God is the all. In fact, the perfect being.
But I have asked you. Can you answer me?
It's like asking who born God, who created God.
Good. That's what I'm asking.
That question will be so nonsensical to even
logic. Forget about how stupid it sounds.
When we talk about God, we are talking about a creator that was never created.
Thank you. That's what I want to hear. Nobody created him. That is it. Wait, now pause it there. I've agreed with you.
Yes.
Nobody created him. Then you want to crucify me because I said nobody created earth. We are the same. You said nobody created God. I said nobody created earth.
Okay,
but
now
can
I bring the logic home?
Okay, yeah, go
now
ahead.
Take for example, you wake up one day and you discover that the person you call your mother and your father are actually not your father and your mother.
Yes.
What will you do?
I will live my life, enjoy my life. That's all.
Beautiful.
Any day I see them, if they call themselves my father, my mother, what I can do is maybe I will decide to go for DNA test, and that's all.
But can you make a claim that you have no mother or father because you don't know your father and your mother?
When you don't know your mother
and your
father,
can you make a claim that you don't have father and mother, or you came from no father, no mother?
You will know because you saw other people giving birth. Have you ever seen a God creating anybody? Have you ever seen God creating anybody? That's the question, because I've seen people giving birth. I've seen a woman giving birth. Have you ever seen God creating?
God said to us.
Forget about what he said to you, because he did not tell you anything.
In the book of Genesis, he said, go ye into the world and multiply.
Who wrote Genesis? Who wrote that Genesis?
Bible generally is inspired by the Spirit of God.
Good. Are you the one that was inspired? I want to know the person who wrote Genesis.
Moses wrote the book of Genesis.
Good. And Moses wrote the final book, which is Deuteronomy. The last book of Old Testament is Deuteronomy. It was written by Moses. Do you know that the same Moses you are telling me he wrote Genesis also wrote what happened to his corpse? He wrote how he kept his eyes when he died. How can a writer please write what is happening to his own corpse? How can you tell me to believe this type of thing? How can I be so stupid to that level?
Now, can I?
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, it's beautiful.
It's just unfortunate that people believe such cooked up stories.
Okay, now it's beautiful. There's no problem. I've seen many atheists like you.
No, I'm not atheist by choice, but by logic. If I want
logic, to serve God, you don't serve God with logic.
No, I don't have to be stupid to that extent. What you should be telling me now is, what if I want you to convince me? Show me the reasons I should follow God.
Okay, beautiful.
Now, if you show me a good reason, or you are able to convince me, for example, if I ask you now, like, I'm an atheist and you're a Christian, if I now ask you, tell me 5 things that happens to you as a Christian that does not happen to me. 5. Okay. You will not even name one. The only thing you can name is that you go to waste your time every Sunday clapping hands to nobody. And sometimes you just lock your door and start talking to yourself. Imagine an intelligent adult closing his door and talking to himself. After talking to yourself, blah, blah, blah.
You are not talking to yourself, but you're praying.
Praying means talking to you. Called it praying to avoid the shame. It is soliloquy.
The Bible told us pray without ceasing. Even Jesus himself prayed.
Okay.
And he was praying to the Father, which is God.
Okay.
So you don't say that when
why do you pray? Let me ask you one question.
Prayer is a medium through which I interact with God.
Okay. What do you tell him? What to do? You tell God what to do. Just wait. I want you to answer. Our audience are listening. You pray to tell God what to do. Okay?
I'm not just telling God what to do.
Why do you pray?
I appreciate God for at least giving me life.
Good. And why?
I appreciate God for whatever status I find myself at the time. One. I also appreciate God. I intercede. I tell God, please, these are my needs. Like he said in book of Philippians, I shall supply all your needs.
And God, boss it there. Audience, he mentioned book of Philippians. Are you a Philippian? A book written to somebody, a Philippian has a letter, and you, an African, is reading it and quoting it.
So are you in any way?
Excuse me, sir. How can you take a letter written to another person and you are reading it in Africa and also telling your fellow brother to join you? That letter was written to Philippians. Are you a Philippian?
I'm not a Philippian, I'm a Nigerian. But please pay attention. Everything written in Bible is written not to only to
another second question.
Everything written in the Bible is written to humanity.
Now it's a lie. It was written later to Philippians. Now let's forget about that. You said you are trying to tell God your needs. You are calling God a fool.
How?
Because you believe God does not know your need. Immediately you pray to tell God your need, it means you are condemning the ability of God to know what you need. It means you are bringing God down. That is the meaning.
I think
that is the meaning.
It's not what you think.
Okay, yeah. Why are you telling God your need?
Yes, you should be able to, as a father and son relationship. As a son, when you have any need, how do you talk to your father? You go to
not a father who has known everything, no.
How can you know?
This is the father that knows anything. Okay, does God know everything? Answer me, sir.
Yes.
Okay, why are you telling him what he knows? You see?
I am not telling him what he knows. I'm only asking him to supply that which I need.
And you think God does not know your need? And you think God does not know your need?
And he has been providing the basic needs that I need.
Yes.
Like life.
And you are asking for more, like Oliver Twist. So you are now asking for more, telling God what extra to do. You see, that is why humanity is going down. What we should be doing is to be helping humanity. We have to be helping ourselves. You are the God I see. This cameraman is the God I see. Okay. So if I need anything, I will only ask you people to help me. I am not asking God for help.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, let's assume there is a God which I may refer to as nature. As nature. Now, let me believe there is one.
Yes.
Nature has provided everything for us.
Who is the master architecture behind nature?
Nobody, and
nobody.
Yes, nobody.
So now
no human being is behind.
You believe that this world, this universe, came on its own.
Just get my point. No human being, no matter how powerful, no matter how large your brain is, can comprehend the nature of how the world came into existence. Anybody that tells you he knows it,
but God have told us in the beginning. God is a liar.
What God told you? At where? Excuse me. Where did God tell you that?
So, but thank God.
Just go ahead. I want to
thank God. You said.
Where did God say?
You said at the time you were ordained a pastor in church, and as an ordained pastor, you've come across a portion of the Bible that says, "In the beginning, God created heaven and earth."
Pause it there. Thank you. In the beginning, Nambido, God created heaven and earth, which means heaven belongs to God, his house. Okay? Excuse me, sir, we need to be saying the truth.
Yes.
Thank you. And the earth is for humans. Now, if God is creating his own house, when he is creating the house of man, it means that God has not been existing before creation. Excuse me, sir. If God has been existing before, where is God's house? Why is he creating his own house when he is creating our own house? It means God was creating himself the time he was creating us. That is to say, Africans, they don't think. If you think very well, you find out that nonsense they wrote them makes no sense. How can you say that God created his own house when he is creating our own house? Are we age mates? Okay, now after creating his own, he created mansions, created this, and after that he put gate. How can God put gate where there is no insecurity? It is because there is insecurity in heaven. That's why they are putting gate. A house that has no criminals around, you can't put gate. You can't put any other thing.
Okay, my viewers, it's very interesting having Alex JP today. Yes, on this show. You know, I told you he's just a master critic of God and Christianity, and this he has just displayed today that of a truth he's unrepentant of his position as a atheist. He has chosen of all things to speak against God and Christianity. Nevertheless, I want to say that Christianity and the worship of God is not what something any human being should do with a sense of logic. No. You will do it with a sense of personal revelation of God himself to you. And finally, on this session, I want to ask Alex just one more question. Then we will draw the curtain for today to continue tomorrow.
Okay.
Alex.
Yeah.
I have seen some atheists like you.
Okay.
There was a theist I read about called Friedrich Nietzsche.
Okay.
He was the one that said actually that God was dead.
Yes.
He said that God was dead and he was buried in churches.
Okay.
But one funny thing happened.
Yes.
At the point he wanted to die,
yes.
he became mad.
Okay.
And at any little time he regained consciousness, he will have a regret of his life for speaking against God. Okay. There was another atheist, which is very popular, everybody know, called Aristotle. Of course, everybody know Aristotle wrote about many things, physics, logic, sciences. And at the point of death, when he was on sick bed, he made a comment. He said that, I lived all my life in antithesis. Now I am dying to the unknown. The mover of heaven and earth saved me. And person who never believed in God at all is now quoting the mover of heaven and earth. Please pay attention. Just hold on.
I just want to.
Now I want to ask you, since now you have chosen to be an atheist, you have chosen to advocate against God and Christianity, at any point in your time or in your life, will there be any situation that will warrant you to have a repentance and acknowledge God?
I will tell you a situation like that. A situation like that will come. I will tell you the situation. Okay. And the situation is almost the same thing with that Friedrich you mentioned here.
Yes.
You see, Africans, we don't read well. You just read the story about that Friedrich without going further. Okay. That man was actually a very strong man. Yes. He wrote the book, God is Dead.
God is Dead, yes.
Thank God, before I discuss with any Christian, I used to read books like mad person. Okay. So what happened was that he contracted syphilis.
Okay.
Yes. And syphilis, by that time, they don't have the cure. No drug to cure him. The only, or is it the second, I am not a doctor anyway, I can't just quote like that, sexually transmitted disease that causes mental sickness, that causes madness is syphilis. Okay. So another one that causes madness is this typhoid or something like that. So now, at the point when the man was suffering from that syphilis, he became mad. Yes. He became mad. So he started talking nonsense. You said anytime he regains himself, that is anytime he regains himself from madness. Yeah. You cannot take a madman's statement very seriously. Yeah, so you can't say that a madman's statement is what you come to believe except you are mad. All so right. Now the condition that will make me to start accepting that somebody somewhere in the sky, maybe very large man or something like that, is watching over me, or is the one to help me instead of coming to you, that time I am mad. So, and the only thing you will do for me that time is to take me to a very good psychiatric hospital and get me treated. All right. And if you see me start to talk to myself, if I start talking to myself, blah, 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 let me close my eyes and start talking to myself, just take me to the hospital. I need help. All right. So, and anybody can fall sick.
All right, my ever-attentive audience, we've heard from Alex that at no point in his life will he ever repent and acknowledge God nor worship him.
Except if I'm mad.
Except if he's mad. I don't. Yes. And God is a mysterious God.
Yes.
If God have predestined that he's going to redeem his soul.
Yes.
If it requires God making him mad. And I want to believe that God will do that.
Even if God makes me mad now, I will not believe that he's God.
Today we've been able to establish why Alex has taken the position of atheism in his life. In our subsequent edition, perhaps tomorrow, just don't leave this channel. By tomorrow, we are going to also have Alex in this platform where we are going to be discussing some of the Bible events, some of those stories that actually made Alex not to serve God. Some of those controversial topics in the Bible, we are going to be discussing them one by one. We will pick a topic and Alex will tell us why this topic is the reason that demoralized him or gave him the motivation not to believe in God. For today, I want to tell you, my viewers, we love you very much. Thank you. Alex, what do you have to tell our viewers?
My dear, what I want to tell you, my people, is this. Anytime you are sick, please don't go to prayer house. Go to the hospital. If you have problem with anybody, don't tell God to forgive you. Go to that person and tell the person, I'm sorry, forgive me. Love humanity, love your neighbor. Try to do good to your friends and neighbor. That's the only way you are worshiping a true God.
All right. Thank you very much, Alex, for coming to our show today. And I hope that tomorrow you will be available for us to continue this session.
Of course,
and even after tomorrow. So you, our viewers, this is a platform that we are going to be exploring many things. We are going to be teaching many things. Some of those controversies in the Bible, we are going to be dissecting them. We are going to be analyzing them one after the other. We are also going to be hosting some caliber of people, both pastors, imam, and even lecturers. There are many things we are going to be talking in this platform, and the only thing you will help us do is to continually be addicted to this platform. And I can assure you, in no long time, there are a lot of things you'll be gaining in this platform. My name is Eze, and Eze, your host for today, and I can assure you we meet again tomorrow.